after last week's show, all hell breaks loose. Not only is Conor McGregor calling you a fat fool, he's also booking a fight against Dustin Poirier. All hell breaks loose.
He called me a fat fool.
Yeah, that wasn't nice.
Yes, that's so disrespectful, right?
Yeah, and I went up to him. I said, Conor, don't you dare talk about DC like that.
No,
that
you
was
didn't.
disrespect.
That's one person you never you did not say nothing to Conor. The one person you don't talk about is Conor. You're so scared of Conor.
No, what are you talking about?
You're afraid of Conor.
I'm afraid of him.
Yeah, you are.
Like what? Like what's going to happen?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what he's told you privately that does not allow you to stand up for me against him.
You have crossed the line. That's it.
I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed in you. Like my father used to say, I am disappointed that you.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
Right.
I'm just disappointed. That's even worse than being mad.
And I was disappointed in the use of fat fool. I mean, I just felt like that was too much. By the way, you know who deserves all the blame for all this? It's our friends in social media, Eric and Tessa, because they write those tweets with those and they tag Conor. They know he's going to respond. They're the real instigators because that's how everyone gets mad.
Anyway. But listen, the social team, they're fantastic, aren't they?
They are fantastic.
We have some good clips. We have some good pictures. Yeah. It always looks so good.
It is good.
I love it. I love it.
Better chance of happening. Conor Pacquiao or Conor Poirier charity boxing match in Dublin?
Neither one of them. Neither one are happening. Conor Poirier exhibition won't happen. Conor Pacquiao won't happen. It'll be Conor Poirier in the UFC. But here's the thing, right?
That's not happening either.
If you're Dustin Poirier, right? You weren't able to come to terms with fighting Tony Ferguson because of the amount of money you wanted, right? Now you're going to fight in a charity match? Like, bro, go get paid. Dustin, go get paid. Go get paid to fight this dude. If you ain't going to fight Tony and you want to fight Conor, it can still happen. But go get paid in the UFC to do it. That's why I think they're going to fight.
Let me tell you what happened. Conor's frustrated. Poirier's frustrated. So he said, hey, let's go into business for ourselves. UFC's response was, oh, 2 UFC contracted fighters. You guys are going to go fight in a gym in Dublin? No, here's a bout agreement to fight under our lights. But here's the thing, DC. Poirier's never been offered that fight. Still to this moment hasn't been offered.
Really?
That fight's not a real thing. There's a better chance of the Pacquiao fight happening than that fight. Number one, UFC and Conor stand to make a heck of a lot more money. Right, with the Pacquiao fight. That's a big deal. I don't care what anyone says about the fight. It's a big deal. It'll make a lot more money. And we all know Poirier-Conor was never in their plans. They were going to do Poirier-Ferguson, right? Conor versus Khabib Gaethje winner. That fight's not in their plans. That was just a response to the tweets because they didn't want to feel like Conor was showing them up, right? I don't think that fight's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think it's not in the works at all. Here's the thing. Poirier jumped at it too quickly. He should have said, I feel like Poirier is kind of being used as a pawn in all of this, right? Like he needs to stick to his guns and honestly needs to push to fight in November on that pay-per-view card that just lost Cody Garbrandt because that card needs a little beefing up. They need to do Poirier versus Ferguson, both guys on the sidelines, and just fight there. And the Conor thing is not going to happen. It's not in the works. It's not in their plans. And I think he needs to recognize that. And it's definitely not going to happen in a charity boxing match in Dublin. No. UFC would never stand for it. Legally, they couldn't stand for
it. That's why he called it a sparring match, right? Because you can't tell people they can't spar. You can't tell people that they can't spar. They can go spar any time of the week.
But you can't broadcast it, right?
Well, you can broadcast a sparring session. Why not?
You think it'll happen?
I don't think it's happening because I think they'll come to terms. I think they'll make it happen in the UFC if they want to fight. But you just said, well, why not do it in November, right? If, like you said, Conor wants to fight, let him fight Poirier in November, right?
Oh, I was saying Ferguson in November.
No, you're saying Conor wants to fight, right? Yeah. If this whole thing with Dustin is real, Conor, go fight Dustin in November. You guys can headline the pay-per-view while Deiveson Figueiredo defends his title right before you in the co-main event. Why not do that? You want to fight, right? Like, it's over and over. I'm a fat fool because I said, if you want to fight, there's fights out there. Here you go. There's a date for you right there. Cody Garbrandt's out. Why don't you go beef up that card now and go fight your fight? It's there. How many weeks away is that, right? It's November what? We're just
21st.
Right? So we're in the beginning of October. You got a lot of time to prepare, get ready. Well, it looks like you're already preparing. Go fight Dustin Poirier in November. I
know what's happening. I know what's happening. What's happening is you're trying to back up your statement of last week that he really doesn't want to fight. That's what you believe. So you're trying to say, hey, here's a date. That's what you're doing.
Fight date right there, right?
That's what
you think
doing,
you just
right?
want to fight? Go ahead. Right, Ariel? You said, I just want to fight anybody. I'm willing to fight Diego Sanchez. Well, here you go.
What is this
November
about?
21st.
What's this truly about? Do you have an agreement with Khabib that you can't say anything positive about Conor? Is that what's happening here?
Bro, I always say positive things.
Why are you such a Conor hater?
No, I like Conor. I actually did a show on Conor back in the day. I think Conor's I think he's a great guy. I think he's always very nice whenever we're in person to each other. He's never, ever been disrespectful. He's always been great, shakes your hand, always looks you in the eye and talks to you. I speak about I do detail on him with the Cowboy Cerrone fight. I talk positively about him all the time. But if you're going to hold somebody to task, you have to hold them to task if you're going to compliment them when they do things right. I just want to know the truth, right? If you really want to fight, then go fight. There's another date right there. There's one date that you can definitely fight on. It's a pay-per-view. It's 6-7 weeks away. Go fight that fight and fight Dustin. Everything works. It's kind of simple, honestly, right? It's kind of simple. Like everybody wants to, like, you want to fight, you're going to make a ton of money regardless of who you fight, right? Doesn't matter. Whoever Conor fights is going to make a boatload of money because he's that guy. He's the biggest star in the world. You want to fight Dustin Poirier in the charity match? Why do it in the charity match? Go get paid for it. November 21st now has lost one of the biggest name on the card. Go fight there. It just makes you, and you don't have to fight a guy like Diego, right? You get to fight a real guy that if you win, now you're on a 2-fight winning streak, and we can justify putting you right back into a title fight. It all works.
Yep.
It makes absolute sense.
Well, I guess
so this is not me trying to go at Conor. I don't care. Hey, I don't care if Conor calls me a fat fool because he would never say it to my face, right? Like that stuff doesn't matter to me. Like those people talking on the internet, that's fine. And if he gets frustrated, sure. Well, next time I see him, he'll be respectful. He'll shake my hand just as we always have been. The reality is I want to see him fight just like the next guy. So let's go make it happen. There's a pay-per-view right now waiting for you.
Well, I guess what the risk is that if you do that fight, I really like that idea, by the way. November 21st. It's a few weeks after the Khabib Gaethje fight, you know.
And it lines up, right?
Well, what if he loses now? You can't do the Khabib Conor fight that they want to do, and that we found out last week that was in the plans to be coaches. They were supposed to be coaches on Tough. Now we don't know what the status of this is because one side is saying it's up in the air, one side saying whatever the case is. Can Conor and Khabib actually be coaches on Tough? Like, can they actually do this?
I don't think they'll be able to be in the same area to
right.
Because Conor's going to be who he is, which is great, though. It's great for television. The problem is Islam Makhachev and Khabib and Usman and Umar and all those guys, Manap, they're not going to be okay with him just kind of being kind of in their space. I think it'll be very difficult, but it would make for some great television to always keep those guys separated. But then Ariel, it's like, here's the thing, right? Like, how does the narrative change so fast, right? It was, I want this season and I want to fight all this time. Now there's a date open, right? But then are we going to look at it like, but what if he loses? Well, if you're going to fight the season every time you go into the octagon, there's a chance that you lose.
Well, the fact that there was this deal to put Tough with Conor and Khabib just is more evidence that
they want the fight.
That Conor versus Poirier was never in their plans, that it was just a retaliation for the tweets. Now, they may have fallen into something here. And of course, no one's happy about Garbrandt being hurt, torn bicep. He's going to come back next year. So now it's Alex Perez versus Deiveson Figueiredo for the belt.
Cannot do Alex Perez, Deiveson Figueiredo as a main event. You need something on top of that.
You also have Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia. But again, it's a very thin pay-per-view.
Bro, you need something.
Yeah, Conor versus...
If Conor McGregor fights, I'm putting him in the main event and those two title fights right under it. People will be okay with that. I know people like
historically they don't like title fights on Conor cards.
I understand. I understand. But I think you have to. Conor can't fight in anything but a main event. Regardless 100%. Of who's fighting, he needs to be in the main event.
No, but then Shevchenko and Figueiredo get pay-per-view points off a Conor fight when.
And I understand. And what if he doesn't want to do that, right? Because then he's just feeding those guys. But the reality is, like, what's it matter? You want to see him fight? I want to see him fight. He wants to fight. It's a pay-per-view. Let's go.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.